So we're back with episode number 2 of the SOOF podcast. Nice to be with you, my brother.
Mm-hmm.
How you doing, man?
Doing well, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, man. I think given everything that's been going on, I think I'm pretty good. So, let's jump right into it.
We gotta say hi to the people though, man. Which camera I'm on?
There you go.
Welcome, guys, to this. What's the name of the podcast, brother?
The SOOF podcast. Welcome to episode. Let's try this again. Hey, welcome to episode 2 of the SOOF podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Delver, here with my co-host,
Nelson.
A
lot of times we can just access the real information, like we know what's up, but young impressionable minds like the kids, they don't know better. So now you got these guys looking like intellectuals, but my problem with them is that they not even in the real game. The game that we call the politics, the game as like
they're not real players.
They not even real players. So they playing chess on a checkerboard.
So hey, here we are. You know how we doing? We hope you're doing real good. Let's jump right into it. 2020, it's a new decade.
2020.
It was supposed to be our year, our decade, our everything.
The year of clarity.
Ascension, money.
My season.
Your season. My season. All of our seasons. And what happened?
The plane, it landed, man. Hold on, go ahead.
It's been a pretty rough year. I think we could arguably say this might be one of the toughest years in American history since 9/11.
Since 9/11.
Could we say that?
I think recession. We was alive for the recession, but financially we didn't feel the impact.
I mean, we was broke. We ain't had no money.
We was broke. We was still in high school. I think our parents felt the brunt force of the recession, but in terms of like lifestyle changes, 9/11.
Yeah.
For us.
Yeah.
It was 9/11.
9/11. So let's talk about the Rona, man. This virus,
Wait, man, is it real or not? Is it fake news?
This ain't a conspiracy podcast. Back to the coronavirus. Apparently it came out of a lab in Wuhan back in November. Apparently the Chinese government has known about this. They didn't alert the rest of the world maybe until January when it really started spreading. You got to think about it. People are traveling in and out of China every day from all different parts of the world. So I think I had the Rona back in January.
Really?
Yeah. So let me tell you. So I went to a company event, a bowling event. It was me and my manager, we're there bowling in the same lane. I got a photo shoot that I do on Monday. The following day. On Monday, on MLK Day, I remember this. I'm home and I'm getting ready to edit these pictures. And as I sit down, I felt something in my back, right? So I have sciatica. For people who understand that, it's when your nerves start acting up, you get all these tingly sensations in your lower extremities. So I was like, oh, it's probably just my sciatica acting up. Haven't acted up in a few years. I was like, all right, that's strange. 5 minutes later, I got a bunch of chills on me. I'm like, this is not normal. 15 minutes later, I'm under my blankets and I'm sweating. I'm having a hard time breathing. Wow. And I'm like, all right, I thought it was just the flu. I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm having all these symptoms. Fever is at like 102, 103. I'm climbing up there and I was out of work for like a week.
I remember you telling me that.
And then finally, I guess when I thought I was over it, I had a lingering cough for like I probably don't know how many people I affected. I had a lingering cough for like 2 to 3 weeks and it was terrible. So back on track to this coronavirus, it's released. They warned the rest of the world in January. Some places didn't take it as serious. Some places did. By March, numbers start, they start ticking up in America. And then we have this shutdown.
I had similar stories of friends telling me that they had COVID-19 symptom like in January before it even hit. So I had numerous friends had the same accounts that you had. But honestly, for all the people that think Corona is fake, for all the people that don't believe in the hype, man, what you must believe in is that people are dying, that we have to take the cautionary measures, man, to not affect our elder populations, our parents, our grandparents. And that's the responsibility that we have. Because I have this story. It was this young man, he went to brunch, came home and affected his parents, and one of them passed away. So now that's on his conscience. So for all the people, for all the doubters that saying Corona is fake, listen, I'm not a doctor. I'm not here to debate conspiracies, but what I do know, my sister is a nurse. People are dying, and you should take caution when you walk outside.
All right, so that's our coronavirus PSA. So let's talk about how it's impacted people financially and morally, and how it has shifted the culture, the corporate culture. So let's talk about financially.
So we gonna say Corona is gonna have the biggest impact since
9/11.
Since 9/11. You heard it here first on this podcast.
The biggest impact, so what we're talking about, security measures are going to change in terms of how we operate, how we get to travel, financially. I think what we're seeing with corporate America moving to a lot of people working at home. I mean, some companies have extended to be a permanent thing. Some have extended through 2021.
But before we even get into the logistics of it, let's just look at the impact of 9/11. Because remember when 9/11 happened, after that, it was so much security measures that were added. The way we lived our lives was different. The way technology grew after 9/11, the home entertainment system. The fact that if you don't want to leave your house, you don't have to. You have everything there. The way TV went from regular television to HD.
Yeah, you went from 720 to 1080 to 4K, 8K, 50,
So all that explosion came about after 9/11. So now we can get into the impact we think and we know we're going to see after this COVID-19.
But I think the biggest thing about 9/11, more than all the advancement and everything, was uncertainty. And I think that's what we have now with COVID-19. I mean, with all these different companies going to work from home and all this, what do you see happening in terms of how do you see this affecting the corporate culture and people being valuable and invaluable to corporations?
For me, I think a lot of people is waiting for us to get back to normal life. And I think what we think is going to be a new normal. The way we interact with AI, artificial intelligence, is going to be vastly different than the way we wanted to interact with AI. I think now you're going to have more interaction, less human contact, more remote work. Right now, I'm working remotely.
Yeah, same here.
And that doesn't have to change because all I really need is a computer and I can just log in and do whatever project that they have for me. So for me, the way I see this COVID-19 changing everything, I think everything is more remote. I think we have more interaction with technologies. I think apps like DoorDash, Postmate, apps that are convenient for us. I think these apps are about to take over. I think the way we just look at going outside is going to be different. I think companies going to find ways to reach people that are at home. So it's a new way to market, it's a new way to work, to tap in. So the people that were able to tap into their mind and create content, they tapped into their mind where if I have this technical expertise, I can work from home, I can do consultant work, I can work for different various companies all around the world where I don't have to go to a physical location, those people are winning. The people that are backtracking now and realizing, hey, if I need to go at the office, if I need to be physically there, I'm losing. Now I'm at home. Now I have to wait for normal life to get back to normal. But the people, let's say the influencers, the people that are able to make money online, the people that that were able to tap into this YouTube currency, the Bitcoin currency, those people, the people that's able to sit home and day trade, those people are winning because what changed? Nothing really changed. So if you were able to tap into your mind and work on this digital clock and not this analog where you have to like physically punch a clock. Cause right now I could work anywhere.
Yeah.
I just bring my laptop with me. Thank goodness it's not like I'm not working with PHI. Cause a lot of time when you're working with, let's say, protected health information, you have to be wired in to a home, you know, but for me, I'm working with, let's say, app development, software development. So I could be anywhere in the world right now.
So that's an interesting point. So essentially what we're saying is people who understand tech and analytics, these are the people who are going to be at the forefront of society. And when you think about it, people who are laborers, people who depend on, who don't have too many skills, that have to actually go in and clock in on the analog and not digitally. The problem with waiting for things to go back normal is that they just might not go back to normal. This is becoming the new norm. I mean, you've got businesses that have gone under that will never come back again. And some people, that's what they were accustomed to. That's the only thing they knew. And I think one thing COVID-19 is going to show, it's essentially might show the survival of the fittest. How great are you at adapting to the environment around you?
And the funny thing is, a lot of companies was already streamlining a lot of the processes, a lot of the bureaucratic processes that have nothing to do with the bottom line, but you need to do it. So they hire guys like me to come in, understand the workflow, understand what the front end user is doing. Okay, we're going to streamline this process so you don't have to do step 1 through 7 to get to 8. You could just do 8. You can verify what the computer, the AI or the robotic process is doing. Learning, it's called machine learning. Once you get that in the workflow, then you only need one person. So you can cut down your work, the amount of people that's needed to do that work by half, or even you only need one.
Agreed. So while we're talking about all this, a lot of you may think, you know, this is something that's complex. This is something that's over your head, but let me break it down to you. Tech and analytics is not strictly confined and restricted to working for corporations. Point that I want to bring is, let's look at the George Floyd story. This cell phone right here, which is tech, is what was used to film this event. So you can bring tech into journalism without even having to go clock in. You can do this yourself if you understand how to work this, understand how to work Instagram, Facebook, understand these platforms, the algorithms, all that. And hey, anybody with a phone now could essentially become a journalist.
And marketing. Online marketing is one of the big time agencies right now. If you know how to market online, and we know because we got contracts with different agencies and they was trying to charge us an arm and a leg just to promote our stuff online, to figure the algorithm, to get it to the right target audience. When you contact these agencies, they charge you an arm and a leg.
Yeah. So let's get back to this tech and journalism thing. You got tech and journalism, and if you power this tech with analytics, you could essentially have your own little news network or news broadcast either on your Instagram page, on your Facebook page. Now, for our audience, what we want you to understand in the dangers, because tech is great, analytics is great, but those who do not understand how to manipulate tech or interpret the analytics, you're at the mercy of those who know how to manipulate this and give you information. So what do we mean by that? There's a wave of just information out there right now, and it's all over the place. And a lot of people who look like us are getting caught up in this, what we can call fake news. What's the dangers of that?
Man, Facebook came under fire because of the fake news, because of what the complication and the implication that they had in the last election of pushing fake news and fake agendas and stuff like that. So we seen what that did to the IPO of Facebook. So with the rise of independent news sources, it's not vetted.
Yeah.
Right? Like when let's say a New York Times, you have so many people, editorial boards that look at these things
and even
vet
then
them. And even then they still have some errors. But now imagine all these sources that are online, independent, that people are putting their own opinion, subjectivity into these things that's supposed to be objective. And we pushing these agenda as real facts. And I think there is the real danger, because now you have these pseudo intellects that you get a dude that feels some type of way about the system, that is being marginalized, that's part of the underserving community, and shoot, he got a camera now. Shoot, I might just turn on my camera, let me start talking smack about whoever.
You got an audience.
Whatever. And then a young kid who have the impressionable minds, because adults, a lot of times we can just access the real information. Like we know what's up, but young impressionable minds like the kids, they don't know better. So now you got these guys looking like intellectuals. But my problem with them is that they not even in the real game. The game that we call the politics, the game as like corporate.
They're not real players.
They're not even real players. So they playing chess on a checkerboard. And then and somebody's looking at them like, yo, this guy sounds smart because he's saying buck the system.
And he's using a bunch of big words, and he has great rhetoric, and it's the passion in his voice, and it got you all riled up and all emotional, and all over a sudden you're not even thinking on facts no more. It's on emotion. And now I'm gonna pivot, and we gonna talk about our recommended read of the week, month, we'll say month, is the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. I've read this book many times before. My partner right here has read it. To be an effective person, there's certain things you have to have. You have to be disciplined. You have to work on certain things every day. You have certain things that are very important, and then you have things that are not as important, but there are things you have that are important. They're not all the way at the top of the list. They're not at the bottom, but these are the things that's going to make sure you reach to where you want to be successful. So that's our read of the month. We highly suggest it, especially for anybody who want to be an entrepreneur, anybody who wants to be effective, but most importantly for anybody who wants to shape their own future. You're going to need some discipline. You're going to need some effective habits. So that's our recommended read of the month. And since we hopped into this tech and journalism thing, let's talk about this George Floyd thing and the whole racial divide in America right now. It's nothing new. I think this country was birthed off this tension, this uneasiness, and this racial divide. But I think as we look at it, I think we've read stories as kids and seen all these different times, the Huey P. Newtons, the Rodney Kings, the Selma all of it. And I feel like now I'm actually seeing like what they were talking about. It's almost like this racial tension. There's a renaissance for it now. How do you feel about all this going on?
Man, with the racial tension, I'm going to talk about it, let's say, the way that it affects me. And I think you have agents who are pushing for further division.
Of course.
And then you have agents who working on us coming together. And I think the agents that working on us coming together are not getting as much replay value as the agents who's pushing for division. Because again, let's talk about the rhetoric. We get caught up in rhetoric, and a lot of times the rhetoric doesn't have any policies or any actual strategies put forward.
Agreed.
So we can solve, because it's one thing to talk about blacks or minorities are not getting their just due, but it's one thing to just talk about it. There's real, and I think that's the problem with social media, because it focuses on like the story, the sense of, you know the word I'm trying to say. Y'all, I'm Haitian.
What's the word, bro?
So my accent is coming out.
Desensitization.
Forget it. All right, they focus on the viral stories.
Shock value.
Shock value. So I think they don't focus on the actual people who's working on us to coming together. You have people that have coalitions that works on, like, let's say, diversity in the workplace. And you have players within that. So if we can bring this conversation down to a level of accountability, a level of how we can influence those changes, then it's always going to remain a conversation that's up in the air, like we talking to like a big machine. So if let's talk about, if we can start talking about racism, how it affect our lives on each different levels, because we are all at different levels in life.
Agreed.
And if we all can be accountable, like let's say if I'm a black manager, man, or if I'm a black director, I don't have to keep thinking like, yo, I have to do the safest policies. I have to have the strategy that save the company the most money. Like, I can't really let my people spend this much money because they're going to look at me different. So let's talk about it in those type of settings where it affects us, because once we start talking about the general racism, a lot of us get confused. So if we can talk about it in our workplace, if you can talk about it in your workplace, then together we can start seeing changes.
Agreed.
And again, I think we focus on a lot of the agents that's pushing for division, and it comes around every election. So I'm trying not to fall for the bait. Where's my camera? I'm trying not to fall for the bait. Okay? Racism exists, but once we have a system that we can hold accountable, I don't care if you racist.
Accountable through policies and all these different changes. The issue that we're having right now is that there's a lot of loud voices, but there aren't any sound policies. There aren't any real concrete stuff that we want to put into place. And back on what he was saying, you know, there's agents that want to bring us together. There's agents that want to continue the divide. And I think it's the same thing in politics. I think politics right now in America is pretty sad, because you have the right side, conservatives, you got the left sides with the liberals. And I think for the most part, I think most people in America or most people in the world are generally centered. But I think the issue is you have extremists on the right side and you have extremists on the left side, and they have the loudest voices. And that's why, and that could piggyback back when we were talking about data and analytics, is that if you don't truly understand how to look at this information and be able to decipher it, what ends up happening is you end up listening to the most extreme voices, and they're not necessarily right. And what happens when you do that is now you feel like you have to pick an extreme side. Instead of being centered and being balanced, now you feel like, hey, I gotta pick this side because this side is the one that appeals to me the most, and they're the loudest. That is what I hear. But underneath all that cacophonic noise is truly like, all right, this is what makes sense. So for me, you know, the racial divide in America, I mean, it's true. It's there. Nobody's debating that. And it's not just in America. Interestingly, I think even in Haiti, I mean, you'll find there's black Haitians and there's white Haitians. And even between that, there's always some type of, what's the thing called again? The colorism. There's colorism, inferiority complex, and all that. So it's not just an America issue. I think it's a global issue, but I think America focuses on it the most. And like he said, a lot of these things tend to bubble up every time an election comes. It's either pandemic, now it's a racial divide, and all of it has come now.
And one thing I would say about Black America, and I'm gonna wait to see the census for 2020, the population, because Latinos is outgrowing Blacks, and 10 years from now, the agenda or the pendulum will focus more on Latinos. They more. So for us Black, cause hey, when I filed for the job
on that box. Hey.
And the funny thing about that is once you don't, if you say, okay, I
choose not to.
Man, they send you that same notification over and over. They have to get your background. And until you get it, it's just say your application is not complete.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm thinking about like whatever agenda we have to push it for it. We have to push for it now before we become a smaller section in the minority bus.
So interesting you said that. I mean, I do want to see what the census is going to look like. And it goes back on everything we've been talking about. Because once that pendulum swing, we probably won't even have the weight. Our voices and votes might not even be coveted by any particular party as they are right now. Because, I mean, essentially, we make up such a small fraction that our vote is not going to make or break it. So with that being said, I want to know who do you think will be shaping America's future for the next 4 years? So who and why? I guess is if that's the question we're asking.
You heard it here first, man. Trump got it, man.
You think Trump got it?
Trump got it, and that's because, and I'm gonna tell you this. He knows his core audience. If you're not part of his core, you feel some type of way. You feel some type of way. But the man knows how to round up his core, the true Americans. Okay?
Why you not looking at the camera, man?
I don't want to look at the camera.
Okay.
Listen.
So that's who you think will win. That's who I think will win too. Who do you want to win?
Who do I want to win? Man.
This is a hard choice given what we got.
Listen, for the because we are on episode 2, and I want you to keep watching, I'm withheld my personal opinion. But who I think will win is still Trump.
He thinks Trump is going to win. Okay, I think Trump's going to win too. Who do I want to win?
Who do you want to win?
Who do I want to win? So if I could find a way, this is pie in the sky, but if I could find a way, you know how on 2K you could build your own player? If I could build my own president, man, I'd take certain things from each candidate. I think both have things that can work, and they have things that are very detrimental.
Let's talk about it.
All right. So, prime example, I don't think Joe Biden has any policies that I know of. Don't get me wrong. I think on the social side, it's good that he wants to unify the country and bring the country together.
And you see who he picks for his running mate.
Yeah, he picks a black woman.
It was a meme. Go ahead. Straight out of Ops. Yeah. That was so disrespectful, man. Shout out to the sister, Kamala. Hey, we're gonna cut that out, man.
Kamala Harris. It's his accent. But yeah, so, we have on one side Joe Biden, who wants to bring the country together, wants to unify it. I think it's the perfect message for him, given everything that's happened.
The climate.
Yeah, with the climate and how to handle the pandemic differently and how to make it better. And then you have Trump, who's I think at this point we can say he's basically banking on his presidency living and dying on how good the economy is. For him, it's about cutting taxes, make sure that more money is going into the American people's pockets. This guy has him in China, this trade deal. I think, from my opinion, I think it's very important that, that he does negotiate better rates. Just because if you look at it, no other president has really challenged China on what it is that they're trying to do. China has come out and says, hey, we're trying to be the next economic superpower of the world, and we deserve that. We should be, because we have 3 times as more people than the United States does. So rightfully so. So, I think his stance on China, I think the wanting to build infrastructure to create more jobs, I do think that's very important for the economy. But then you also have to take a look at a lot of the other things. A lot of people say he's racist. Even though I guess you can quote unquote say he's never came out and overtly said anything that makes people say, oh, what he just said is racist. But I think, given the context, clues and everything that he says, people have come to that conclusion. So I think for me, the issue that I have most, it's not even talking about racism or anything. I think is that his rhetoric, I just think it emboldens racist actions. Meaning, I think his rhetoric and how he speak, it not only empowers people who are for him, but it also empowers that other extreme side that's against him, because it excites such vitriol in both extremist sides that you got the liberal side that's like, they're going to do anything possible or necessary to make sure, like, yo, we got to make sure he's out of office, or we got to make our presence felt. And then you got the other side who's for him, like, yeah, we're going to show you what it's really about. So I think that side, I think I'd give Biden the edge on that one, where I don't think he would embolden or empower those loud voices, where I think maybe the voices underneath, maybe they will be heard more and it'll be a bit more balanced. But I don't know what his policies are for the economy. He says build back better. He wants to make everything America. It kind of sounds like Trump's message in terms of economics. So I don't know exactly. I mean, we know what we're going to get out of Trump. He's going to be highly entertained. You got a guy who's going to try and negotiate every deal that he possibly can. He's going to go at it with the press. And Biden, I think a lot of the caution that people have is his mental capacity, has come into question. I don't think it should be that hard for him to say camera, giraffe, globe, glasses, phone. I don't think it should be that hard for him to say that, but that's something that's been coming into question.
Let's talk about it.
It's talked about a lot. So whether or not he's actually capable or incapable, I mean, we'll never know unless he's elected and see how that goes. So that's how I feel, man. I don't really have a preferred candidate. I have who I think is going to win. And it's for all the reasons you said. This is a man who understands his base. He understands his core. And these are the people that he's going to speak to. And hey, if anything goes bad for him, he's going to say, hey, look at the stock market. Look at the Dow Jones, the NASDAQs. It's the greatest it's ever been. And what I want to know is, why is more people who look like us, why are we not invested in the markets?
And you know what? I was reading last week where it was showing that the market is doing very well, but unemployment sits at 13%.
Yeah.
Over 13%. So why you think more people that look like us don't invest in the market?
All right. So I think I can speak to this very well. So for me, going to college, there wasn't one major that I could see on that list that spoke to something that I was passionate about, to something that I wanted to do. But, growing up poor, one thing I understood is that, Yo, we didn't know nothing about money.
Financial literacy.
Yeah, financial literacy. All we knew was, hey, let's get a job and save money in the bank. That's all we think about. We think about cash and saving money, but as we've come to know, if you keep that money just in the bank and inflation is going up, you're actually losing money after a while. The value, it loses value. So I think one of the main reasons that stop people that look like us, minorities, underprivileged and underserved communities, is that we just do not know and we do not understand. And the thing about our people is that, hey, they're highly skeptical. I don't know about the markets.
And I'm a differ from your opinion. Mm-hmm. And this go back to the schemes to build the pyramid. Mm-hmm. Because now we have Forex. Mm-hmm. We've seen a new generation that wants to know about the market, but they go towards Forex, is because that's what most of the influencers, that's what most of the people that look like us, honestly, that's what they're doing, Forex. So what you think about Forex? And guys, I'm not the finance guy. He is. So most of the questions, if you see I'm asking,
I don't do Forex. I personally don't. I'm pretty sure all financial instruments, once you understand how to read statements or whatever and understand how the markets work and the cyclical nature of it, I think you can be able to trade anything that you're interested in. For me personally, I don't do Forex. I'm more of a stocks guy. I'm more of a day trading stocks, lost a lot of money day trading, made a lot of money day trading. But I'm sticking to my guns. I think the main reason why people don't invest is, and okay, so as you've said, you're not the finance guy. So let me let you in on something. So let's look at it like this. Let me break it down. So when you go to the hospital and you say, hey, I'm having chest pains, one of the first things they're going to do, they're going to hook you up to an EKG machine and they're going to read the lines and see, I'm not the medical guy.
Let's talk about it.
You know what I'm saying? But I can understand. So when you look at it, hey, is it rapid movements? But once they hook you up to it for a while, you will see that in the midst of all these crazy spikes, it's generally a steady line. So it'll either steadily go up, steadily go down, or steadily go sideways. Now, what you're talking about stuff like Forex and trading. That's a whole different ball game. See, trading, to break it down, I'm not from the streets, but I
understand my X and O's.
I understand my X and O's and all that stuff. So when you look at let's say you look at a local street drug dealer, play Grand Theft Auto, you learn quite a bit. When you got your local corner boys, they're focused on the everyday activity. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I got to get it quick. I got to get it this. There might be days where, hey, boy, you making a lot of money. There might be days where it's not as good as others. Same thing with trading. There's days where stocks are spiking. There's other days where them things are going straight down. What I'm talking about, what I need our people to be more invested on is investing. Because what happens is we always want things quickly. And that's part of the allure of why I wanted to start trading.
Gotcha.
For me, it was like, yo, I want to make money now and I want to make it quickly.
I want to be a millionaire by 30.
I want to be a millionaire by 30. It was one of the reasons why, even though I got a full ride to college, I took out over $6,000 to go trade and I lost all of it. So for me, it was about the now. But what I'm talking about is value investing over time. To go back to that EKG analogy, most of us, this is what we so concerned in seeing, the everyday thing. But when you can step back and actually look at a chart and see how this thing is charting upwards or downwards, you put your money in there, you contribute to it, and it doesn't have to be stocks. I mean, we'll do another episode. We'll talk about stocks.
How there's value in compound interest.
And all that. That's his 2 cents of finance knowledge.
Hey, listen, guys.
you know, and index funds and all those different things. And you want to continue to nurture that thing so it can grow, you know. And I think the reason why our people aren't into stuff like that, or minorities, is because we just don't understand and we don't know. And typically what you don't know, to a certain extent, you fear it, you know, because, you know, I can recall having conversations with some people that we know that are older than us. You start talking about, yo, are you investing in the markets? Some people actually think it's a scam. Some people think like, nah, government ain't gonna take my money. It's like, yo, this actually has nothing to do with the governments. This is all on corporations. And, you know, I think our people just don't know, and it's really hurting us.
And you know the thing too, with the rise of apps like Robinhood, Acorn, you have a lot of millennials. I'm not gonna speak for the older population that look like us, but for the younger ones, they probably are not sold on investing, but in terms of trading, I think they are sold on that, because a lot of them are signing up for Robinhood. And because the market, because of the COVID, you know how COVID dropped the market a little bit, and a lot of them are hopping in, hoping that it will take them, you know, they would multiply,
be that next wave of millionaires that came about.
We have a lot of people jumping into the market. Just the other day, one of my cousins called me, and brother was like, yo, you know, I'm in the market, but he couldn't tell me nothing about X and O's or how he's picking these companies. But he called me, man. He was like, man, I jumped in the market. And I know a lot of people like that now because of Robinhood, because it's so accessible. More people want to put their money in, and you know, I don't know how they are reading these charts or whatever. Maybe they're not reading the charts.
Hey, look,
and they're going off in information that's the news.
I personally think if you can get the skill of trading, man, I think it's a phenomenal skill. It's another stream of income. It's another way to feed your family. I mean, look, man, I can talk about this personally. I've been around people who I've seen made tens of thousands of dollars in just one day, man. You know, and I think if you can actually understand the skill of trading and take all that money you make in trading and put that into other avenues in terms of investing, value investing, put that into different businesses, I really think it can be really beneficial. You know, it's highly. Don't invest or don't trade anything you're not willing to lose. Let me say that again. Anything you're not willing to lose, don't trade it, don't invest it. Make sure you understand what it is that you're getting yourself into, because if you're not, it can be a much bigger headache than needed.
True. And on that topic, we're going to piggyback on how we see the market, or how we're going to see the job market after COVID-19, or even during COVID-19, based on data. Because again, shaping our own future, we want to bring back the focus on tech jobs. And what I really see going about to happen, we're going to have more roles of remote, more roles that have to deal with data, more roles that have to do how you transform that data into visualization, more roles into how that data give us insights for decisions within that company, more roles on those type of roles. And it's no limits to the type of information we can get from data. And that's why when you have those skills, man, you like one of those rare resources in the market right now.
Hey, look, man, I agree. To take it on the other side, I think even for the rise in entrepreneurs and influencers, a lot of people say they're entrepreneurs and influencers online, but they don't understand the metrics. They don't understand the numbers of their audience. They don't understand who truly is engaging with them. So if you're running a marketing campaign, you might be targeting a whole audience that, one, wants nothing to do with you, and two, is not even your real audience. So when it goes back to data and analytics, you have to be able to understand your numbers, understand your audience, understand what they want, what type of content they want, what type of phones are they using, where could you go and get these customers, where can you go and find them. And that's why I think this whole tech and analytics thing, man, It's not the next wave. It's here
It's
right now.
already the wave.
It's here. It's here right now. You know, in about 3-4 years, some people, you know, who aren't as fortunate to be watching this amazing podcast, they're gonna be like, yo, there's a tech wave coming on, but we're telling you right now, like, yo, that wave started a while ago.
A while back.
It's now like, yo, people are catching up on it and they're going, but yo, that's gonna be the wave, man. People who can understand data, interpret it, and know how to use it and deploy different strategies and stuff, that's truly going to be that's going to be the way society is going to work.
We're not going to say it's the future, it's the now.
It's the now.
Because with RPA, machine robotic processing, with machine learning, how, you know, technically the computer is just looking how you do your work and how you function within that company.
Yep.
And it could just basically do what you was doing anyway. And it just streamlined that whole process. So now you probably need people developing those softwares, people looking at how to transform that data into business requirements. You're looking at people looking at these data, the efficiencies of. Listen, if you're in high school right now,
so we can say middle school.
Get into computer science, get into the data, get into your finance, because again, those are the things that will rule the future right now.
Yeah, so 3 things. If you're in middle school right now, regardless of what you want to do, I don't care if you want to be a nurse or whatever you want to do, whatever it is, make sure you understand finance, personal finance at the basics. Make sure you understand technology, the basics, and make sure that you're able to analyze whatever. And that's the funny thing about analytics. It's not restricted to just business careers. I mean, when you think about it, once again, I'm not a doctor, but I'm pretty sure when you take blood levels, there's a certain amount of count of like, yo, how many white blood cells, how many red blood cells or whatever. What does that mean? You know, what do these numbers mean? So analytics is truly a part of life when you think about it.
We get, and the funny thing is, we get how this society is constructed. We get what's happening through the data. Because again, you can talk that racism talk, and you can talk that there's no opportunity, but when they put out the numbers, is what you're saying match the data that is given.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the future is where we're going. And because a lot of it has to do with information.
Yeah.
And it's going to be hard for people to lie to others. Like, you know how, let's say you're doing a speech right now and you said something that was alternative.
Fact check.
You know, they could fact check you right there because the information is there, the data is there, and you have to do the research.
So
how we gonna end this, man?
How we gonna end this? So what was it you said before we started this episode? You said something about why is it people not investing? Why is it? Mm-hmm. What's the reason? Because they don't know.
They probably don't know.
They don't show.
They don't care about what's going on in the hood.
That's what it is.
You know who care? This podcast.
We care. So it's either they don't know, they don't show, or they don't care about what's going on in the hood, in your house. So that's why it's important for you to build your own future, you know?
Again, follow us on Instagram at SOOF for us. The number 4 and us. SOOF is SOOF. And again, if you want to work with us, if you have a grassroots effort, if you have an organization that is similar, we don't have to be remote. We can work together.
Yo.
We don't have to be isolated in our efforts. When we together, we are stronger.
Strength is in numbers is what
Strength is in numbers. So
saying.
If we can go into as many as communities, in these middle schools, elementary schools, and these underserved areas, and we can give out this message to encourage kids to pick up a coding book, and right out of high school, you can get a job if you know how to code.
Yeah.
All right. So if we can get this message out there and make tech cool and make data cool, and we don't have to inspire to be possibilities, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
We don't have to inspire to be a possibility, but
we don't have to dream hopelessly.
But we can vision ourselves in definite things.
You know what I'm saying?
Tangible items, measurable things, that if you try your best, this will be the outcome. Instead of if you try your best, there's still somebody better than you.
Yeah. So essentially, we want you to be able to dream and wake up and make your dreams become a reality and be something that's tangible. Man, it's been a pleasure.
Been a pleasure.
For episode 2. Look out for episode 3. Once again, it is your favorite podcast, the SOOF podcast, Shaping Our Own Future. Once again, it's your boy, Jeff Delver, here with my boy,
Nelson.
It's been a pleasure. We'll see you in episode 3. It was a pleasure speaking with you, my brother.
Man, we out.